Vieira's Palace style already clearer than Arteta's at Arsenal. Patrick Vieira has created a Palace identity in 3 months. It's 2 years and counting for Mikel Arteta at Arsenal. Since Patrick Vieira left for Juventus in 2005, Arsenal have spent nearly £200 million on 14 midfielders you could conceivably claim were bought as a direct replacement. One of them was on show from the start on Monday, a second was introduced at halftime after his manager realized his tactical mistake. They were at fault for the 2 Crystal Palace goals. Arteta was asked about his side's lack of goals ahead of kickoff and replied in his typical antithetical style, "Yes, but the defense is the foundation." And Arsenal largely had their defense and new goalkeeper to thank for their upturn in form ahead of the visit of Palace, conceding just once in their last 4 Premier League games. But Arteta's selection was as good a sign as any of the manager's concern over the shortage of goals. Thomas Partey looked set to patrol alone in front of the back 4. This was not the game to try it. Without Wilfried Zaha and Eberechi Eze, Crystal Palace's attack is limited to balls into the centre forwards and Conor Gallagher pushing on to pick up layoffs or loose balls. Odsonne Edouard and Christian Benteke sat in holes to the side and, more worryingly, behind Partey and were fed balls into their feet or their chests. It was so easy. Martin Odegaard was alongside Partey when it suited him in the first half, but infrequently when it mattered. And it's not as though the playmaker made plays from that purported role. His place in the team ahead of a far more efficient and proficient defensive midfielder in Albert Sambi Lokonga was essentially pointless. It just made Arsenal's back 4 easier to get at. "You can't play with 5 attackers," Jamie Carragher said in the studio before kick-off. "You can if you're Manchester City, but clearly not if you're Arsenal, who ceded 57% of possession in the first half, at home, to Crystal Palace." The first 15 minutes of that first period, in which Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang tapped in at the back post to give his side the lead after some neat interplay between Nicolas Pepe and Takehiro Tomiyasu, was as energetic as the last 30 was slovenly. It was Crystal Palace doing the pressing, creating space and passing in triangles. Ironically, Palace's 2 goals came after Arteta patched up his midfield with Lokonga. The supply line through the center of the pitch was restricted, but there's no accounting for the dawdling errors of the 2 members of what was now a proper double pivot. First Partey was caught on the ball, then Lokonga. It was really poor from them, but also great from the Palace beneficiaries, Jordan Ayew and Gallagher, who, unlike members of the opposition, continued to close down and press throughout, granting Benteke and Edouard chances they both took with aplomb. Arsenal showed grit and determination to stay in the game, and you could argue they deserved their last gasp equalizer for the way they pushed in those final stages. But that middle hour has got to be a concern for Arteta. They were incredibly flat and outplayed by a side that's supposed to be inferior. It's just not clear what the plan is. The players don't seem to know what to do other than to come out of the blocks with a bit of intensity. Occasionally it looks as though they're trying to be Man City, then quickly realize they have nowhere near the quality of Man City and retreat. Crystal Palace were just better. Better on the ball. Better off the ball. Vieira's done an extraordinary job in a short period of time, completely altering the style of a club so entrenched in the ways of the previous manager. It was the sort of game that will have Arsenal fans wondering whether they would prefer Vieira in their dugout to Arteta. Game to game it's still not clear what the Arteta style really is or what the project will look like when it comes to an end. He got lucky on Monday against a manager that on the evidence